Hi everyone, this is Amy from the Helms Academy, and today we'll be doing our Math Roundtable recap from April 22nd, 2021. So we always start with the same steps. We're going to figure out what the important information is and what they're asking us, figure out what operations we need. Do we need to add, subtract, multiply, divide? We're going to write out the problems using the numbers and operations, and then we'll solve. So let's start with word problem 1. It says a restaurant is at 75% capacity with 120 patrons. How many people are in the restaurant when it is at 100% capacity? So they give us some options here between 90 and 280. Now, one thing I like to think about immediately is we're currently at 75% capacity. So the restaurant is not full, right? And there are 120 people. So if we go to 100% capacity, are there going to be more or less than 120 people? Well, 100% is greater than 75%. So looking at the numbers that are really key in here, I know that it's going to be a higher number. So right away, A and B are not going to be good options. So what do we do with our numbers? Well, we can always create a proportion because we're comparing two numbers here. So if we know that 75% is 120 people, and we're trying to figure out what 100% is, we can set it up like this. 75 over 120 equals 100 over x. You'll see we line up our percentages together on the top, and then on the bottom is the number of people. We know 120, and the x is for the one that we don't know yet. How do we solve a proportion? Well, we cross multiply and divide. So cross multiply the two numbers that are across from each other, 120 and 100. And then we divide by 75. So 120 times 100 is 12,000. Divide that by 75, and we end up with 160. For word problem 2, it says Khalid is 56 years old. Kathleen is 6 years older than Brody. The sum of Kathleen's and Brody's ages is half Khalid's age. How old is Kathleen? So putting all these numbers together, we have to figure out first what all information we have. And this is a little confusing because there's lots of names and lots of ages. So we have 3 people here. That's the first thing we need to identify: Khalid, Kathleen, and Brody. So with these 3 people, we only know one of their ages, right? We know that Khalid is 56 years old. Brody, we have no idea how old he is, so we're just going to use the letter B as a variable there. So we'll say that he is B years old. And then we know that Kathleen is 6 years older than Brody. So think about older. Are we going to add, subtract, multiply, or divide? Well, it'd be like plus 6 years. So here, if we just take Brody's age, B, and then we add 6 years, then we can get Kathleen's age. Now, we have all of this information, and this is really helpful to write out first so that we can keep track of who is who. And we need to figure out how to put all these pieces together. So we know that the sum, or adding together, of Kathleen's and Brody's ages is half of Khalid's age. So let's write that out in a problem. So Brody's age plus Kathleen's age is Khalid's age divided in 2, or half of it. And let's plug in our numbers. So here we have it. We have Brody's age, B, plus Kathleen's age, which is B plus 6, and then it equals Khalid's age, 56, divided by 2. Right away, I know we can put those two B's together. So instead of B plus B, we're going to label that as 2B plus 6, and we can divide that 56 divided by 2, which is 28. Now, I need to get the B by itself, so I'm going to start by getting rid of that plus 6. So if I do minus 6 on both sides of the equal sign, I end up with just 2B and 28 minus 6, which is 22. Now to get B by itself, I need to get rid of the 2. So since I'm currently multiplying 2 and B together, I need to divide by 2. So 2B divided by 2 is just B, and 22 divided by 2 is 11. Now, is this the final answer? Not quite. Take a look back at the question. Whose age are we trying to figure out? We need to figure out Kathleen's age, and we solved for B, which is Brody's age. So how do we get Kathleen's age? Well, remember that she is 6 years older. So 11 plus 6 equals Kathleen's age, which is 17. All right, for word problem 3, it says a backpack is on sale for 25% off. After the discount is taken, a 7% sales tax is applied. If the original price of the backpack is P, which equation represents the final cost, C, in dollars of the backpack? Now, the first thing I'm checking for is when I look at the answers to make sure the variables are in the right place. So I see that all of them begin with C equals. So we already know the final cost will be listed that way. And then I see P for the cost of the backpack. Now, right away, I see that we're going to have to do 2 steps. We need to figure out what the 25% off is, and we need to figure out what the sales tax is going to be. So when I look at my options, I see 2 options, A and B, that only have 1 multiplication step in them. So I'm going to go ahead and root those out. I know that we're going to need at least 2 multiplication steps. Now, this problem requires you to think about this a bit differently. Now, if I'm thinking about the cost of a backpack, and I see that something is, for example, 10% off. So if I go to the store, there's a $1 item and I see it's 10% off. How much am I going to pay for it? Am I going to pay 10 cents or am I going to pay 90 cents? Well, I'm going to pay 90 cents because if something is 10% off, that's just the discount. The amount I'm going to pay is the remaining 90%. It's the same situation here. When we have a backpack that's on sale for 25% off, we're not just going to pay 25% of the cost, we're going to pay for 75% of the cost. And that's still going to give us less than what it was for 100% of the cost. We're still getting that discount, but that's how much of the original price we're going to pay. So be careful with problems like this when it's on sale, because the 25% does not represent how much you pay, represents how much less than 100% you're going to pay. So when we're starting with P and we have that 25% off, we need to multiply it by the remaining percent, which would be 75% of the cost. You can write this as 0.75. Now, right away, if I look at my options, I've got it narrowed down now to just 2 because I see that C is not going to be a good option anymore. So the remaining question is, am I going to multiply by 0.07 or am I going to multiply by 1.07? Well, the 0.07 is coming from that 7% sales tax. And sales tax is an interesting piece because we need to remember when we have sales tax, it's an additional cost, right? Something else that we have to pay for when you go out to pay for an item. So it's going to increase the amount. It can't make the amount less. So we've already got our discount, right? We're going to multiply the original cost, P, times 0.75, so we can pay the 75% of the cost that we are going to pay for. But then for the sales tax, think about it this way. If we multiply something by less than 1, that number is going to go way down, right? Multiplying something by 1 keeps things the same. Multiplying something by more than 1, like 2, 3, 4, 5, makes the number bigger. But multiplying something by less than 1 is going to shrink the number down. So when I look at my options, 0.07, yes, that represents 7%, but that means that I'm only going to pay 7% of the amount. Now, we all know that's not true, right? You're still going to have to pay the full amount of what we have, P times 0.75, and the 7% sales tax. So that's why we're going to pay we're going to put 1.07 here, because that 1 is going to help us keep the original amount, right? Multiplying by 1, we keep it the same. And then we're going to add on that 0.07 amount, which is the 7% sales tax. This is a common type of problem. This is actually from an old HiSET test. And that sales tax piece will show up often. So if you can remember that 1 point and then the sales tax, that's going to be really key. So our final answer here is E. All right, for word problem 4, it says, what is the median daily wage reported by factory D? So this is important because we have a chart and we're actually going to use the chart for 2 problems today, problem 4 and 5. For this one, it's specifically asking us about factory D. So we don't need to pay attention to anything else, just what's in the factory D column. Now it's asking us for the median. And what does median mean? It means the number in the middle. And the only way to find that out is to put these in order from least to greatest. And you'll notice that they're not in order right now. So if I write them out, I will have 200, 205, 210, 220, and 220. And I need to keep all 5 numbers. Which one falls in the middle? Letter B, 210. For problem 5, we're working with the same chart, but a different factory this time. It says, the worker at factory A who made $180 per day received a raise and now makes $195 per day. If this value were changed in the table, how much would the average wage increase for factory A as a result of this raise? So taking a look at factory A, we see there are 5 salaries there, and each one is different. So we need to think about how we find the difference between averages. Well, we would need to find the old average, and we would need to find the new average with the increased pay. So how do we do that? Let's start with the old average. An average means that we need to add together all of the salaries and then divide them by the number of salaries that exist. So in this case, we have $140 plus $160 plus $200 plus $190 plus $180 equals $870. To find the average, we divide it by the number of salaries, which is 5. And 870 divided by 5 is 174. So that's the old average. Now we know the new average is going to be higher because we're going to change that 180 to 195. That person got a raise. So if we put that in here as 140 plus 160 plus 200 plus 190 plus 195, that equals 885. And 885 divided by 5 is 177. Now, how do you find the difference between 174 and 177? Well, you could just subtract them, and we end up with $3. Thank you so much for solving with me today, and good luck on your math tests. We have tons more videos for you to check out here on the Helms Academy YouTube channel, and don't forget to subscribe for the latest updates. You can also check us out on Instagram and Facebook and on our website at helmsacademy.org.